There are people who move through life with an unusual rhythm. They don't need to say much, for their very presence creates a quiet, profound field of energy, as if the space around them knows how to listen. These are the ones who vibrate at a higher frequency, where body and soul merge into one complete melody. The three signs they embody have nothing to do with shallow affirmations, nor can they be attained through sheer willpower or a weekend of spiritual escape. They are energetic realities, living waves that rise from within the body and ripple outward, shaping everything they touch. When the architecture of one's inner world reaches perfect harmony, that person no longer strives to change reality. They become an instrument so precisely tuned that the vast symphony of the universe naturally adjusts to their tone. This is the rare state Carl Jung called psychic integration, the moment when reality ceases to stand apart from you and becomes the pure reflection of your soul. You shall be instructed on how to recognize these signs, to understand their nature, and to see what they reveal about the deepest structure of your being, the hidden architecture of your soul. The first sign does not descend from the heavens, nor does it whisper from some distant spiritual plane. It comes from the place most intimate to you, your body. The body is not simply the vessel of your soul. It is the messenger, the translator, the bodyguard. It speaks a language older than words, a dialect of pulse, tension, and trembling breath. And once you begin to align with your true self, it stops being a neutral vehicle and becomes an unwavering guardian of your authenticity. Carl Jung called this process individuation, the slow and perilous reunion of the self with its forgotten parts. He understood that true psychological integration is not just a concept of the mind, but an energetic event that reprograms the body itself. When that deep inner alignment occurs, your body signs a sacred contract with your soul. It will protect you even from yourself. This is somatic intelligence, the mysterious wisdom of the body that refuses to lie. It is not a faint whisper of unease or just stress. It is a swift, direct, and often brutal response to inner dissonance. It's the blinding migraine that clamps behind your eyes the very instant you agree to something that violates your values, as if your own vision refuses to bear witness to compromise. It's the sudden wave of nausea that rises when you force yourself to say yes while every cell inside is pleading no. Your stomach knots because it has become the first guardian at the gate of your integrity. Or it's that bone-deep exhaustion, that strange and nameless fatigue that medicine cannot explain. A heaviness that descends only in the presence of falseness, only around people who demand that you wear a mask. At first, you might think your body is betraying you. You might blame hormones, sleep, caffeine, or fate. But in truth, your body is not betraying you. It is defending you. It is your most loyal ally, the one aspect of your being that refuses to participate in your deception. It will not endorse what violates your essence. Jung wrote that neurosis arises when consciousness is divided against itself, when the mind and soul pull in opposite directions. But once that conflict ends, once coherence begins, your biology stops negotiating. It begins to enforce your truth. Your organism has learned a painful, beautiful truth. To betray your core frequency is to corrupt the entire system. And so it fights back, with pain, with exhaustion, with whatever signals it must send to bring you home to yourself. That migraine is not punishment. It's a warning. That fatigue is not failure, it's course correction. That nausea is not fragility. It's integrity demanding to be felt. Have you ever noticed that moment when you try to push through something? A meeting, a job, a relationship, driven by guilt, fear, or duty. You override your intuition, smile on command, and suddenly, your body revolts. Your energy collapses. Your immune system seems to stage a quiet protest. It's as if your cells are chanting a single instruction. Protect the signal. Protect the authentic you. Because when your frequency refines, your threshold for falsehood narrows. The question is no longer, can I handle this, but does this honor me? Your physiology answers before your intellect can compose a lie. It knows instantly whether a choice strengthens or fractures you. A truth that cannot be reasoned with, only recognized. If you've ever had to walk away from a career that demanded you mute your own voice, or end a relationship that made you physically ill from emotional disguise, you've already met this bodyguard. You may have thought you were falling apart. In reality, you were falling into alignment. Your body was refusing to fund the false version of you. It was saving your life the only way it could, by making self-betrayal unbearable. Pain in this context is no longer the enemy. It becomes the siren of truth. It rings out every time you abandon yourself, guiding you back toward coherence. Your muscles tighten not to punish you, but to hold the boundary you were too polite to set. Your breath shallows when you wander from your center, then lengthens like a sigh of relief when you speak what's true. Even your skin, that sacred border between inner and outer, seems to react differently. It flushes, chills, or prickles in the presence of deceit. The body becomes a living scripture, each sensation a verse in the gospel of authenticity. This is not mysticism. This is biology awakened. This is Jung's theory made flesh. When psyche and soma become one, when you stop fighting your own nature, you activate a frequency the body can no longer silence. This is vibrational coherence, where honesty becomes a biological imperative. So the next time you feel your body resist, don't call it weakness. Don't numb it or reason it away. Listen. Your body is your first oracle, your last defense, and your most honest friend. There comes a moment on the path of inner coherence when reality itself seems to awaken. The world, once random and indifferent, begins to move with the rhythm of your breath. The stars rearrange themselves, numbers repeat in impossible patterns, and every encounter, every delay, every song on the radio seems to speak directly to you. This is the second sign, the symphony of synchronicity. The place where your consciousness and the universe meet halfway and begin a wordless conversation that can no longer be ignored. At first, it startles you. You think, that's strange, when you glimpse the number 111 again, or when the same sentence appears in 3 different books within a week. You wonder if it's coincidence or imagination, or maybe just the mind's hunger for meaning. But soon the patterns grow dense, deliberate, as though the cosmos itself has leaned in to whisper, I hear you. You think of an old friend, a name you haven't spoken in decades, and the next day you cross paths with their sibling in another city. You're wrestling with a difficult choice, and a billboard flashes a single word that feels like a verdict. You find a book fallen open in a shop window, and on that page the very answer you were afraid to seek. It's not random, it's orchestration, and the conductor to your awe and unease seems to be you. Carl Jung called this phenomenon synchronicity. Meaningful coincidences that reveal the hidden architecture of psyche and matter. He believed the outer world and the inner one are not 2 separate kingdoms but mirrors facing each other. Infinite reflections of the same truth. And when the psyche becomes integrated, the mirror clears. The boundaries blur. The dialogue begins. This is not wishful mysticism, but the natural result of consciousness in alignment. When your inner world achieves coherence, the external world responds with precision. Reality becomes an echo chamber for your vibration. The illusion of separation, that fragile veil between in here and out there, begins to crumble, and what you once called coincidence reveals itself as correspondence. It's thrilling at first, intoxicating even. You feel seen by the universe, held in a current of divine orchestration. But soon, the wonder deepens into something heavier, something far more demanding. Because to live in a responsive universe is to live without the comfort of randomness. You can no longer shrug off events as meaningless. Every encounter becomes a mirror, every delay a directive, every conflict a coded message. You realize, sometimes with dread, that the universe is not doing things to you. It is responding through you. The theater of life, once thought to be external, is revealed as the set your psyche built for its own revelation. And this realization carries immense responsibility. For when synchronicity begins to operate with this precision, you can no longer drift passively through your days. You can no longer play small or helpless. You can no longer hide behind the illusion of powerlessness. Because the universe is now mirroring not only your hopes but your fears. Not just your love, but your denial. Every thought becomes a seed, every emotion a ripple in the fabric of the real. Your inner weather becomes the forecast of your outer life. You start to notice that when your heart is clear, the world opens with effortless timing. Doors swing wide. The right people arrive as if summoned. But when you waver, when resentment, doubt, or self-betrayal slip in, the world responds in kind. Calls drop, traffic stalls, opportunities evaporate. The feedback is immediate and mercilessly accurate. But let us not romanticize it. Living in constant synchronicity is not a casual blessing. It is a heavy mantle, because every echo carries accountability. You can no longer pretend ignorance. You can no longer indulge the narrative of victimhood. You see with aching clarity that you are both participant and author in this grand script. To live at this level of awareness is to be haunted by the immediacy of your own creation. To recognize that every outer event, whether joyous or painful, is a fragment of your own consciousness returning home. You are no longer a spectator. You are a co-creator, whether or not you asked for the role. And once this dialogue begins, it does not end. The universe doesn't fall silent again. It continues to respond to your clarity, your confusion, your honesty, your evasion, translating your vibration into circumstance, your emotion into event. It becomes a living symphony, a resonance between what you feel and what the world reveals. The third and perhaps most socially unsettling sign manifests in the way other people react to you. Strangers in particular will have powerful, instantaneous, and often inexplicable responses to you. This is the phenomenon of spontaneous polarization. For the first time, you realize that presence itself has power, that who you are, not what you do, elicits strong responses in others. Some people will find your energy magnetic. They will lean toward you instinctively, drawn by a sense of safety they can't explain. They'll speak to you as though you've met before, confiding secret aches and buried dreams within minutes. Your authenticity disarms them, and for a fleeting moment they glimpse what it feels like to be whole. Others, however, will recoil. Their gaze sharpens, their shoulders tense as though standing before you threatens their sense of control. They will dislike you instantly, invent reasons to doubt your integrity, or withdraw into cool suspicion. They are not reacting to you. They are confronting the unhealed version of themselves that your clarity silently exposes. You have become the mirror of their disowned potential, and mirrors can be merciless. Carl Jung wrote that an integrated individual naturally provokes projection. Your psyche, once fractured and now unified, emits a field of coherence, and that field stirs the shadows lying dormant in others. Your very existence becomes an invitation they did not ask for. To the one still divided, your calm is confrontation, your authenticity accusation, your presence whispers a truth they have spent a lifetime avoiding. You too are meant to be whole. And so they lash out, not at you but at the reflection of their unlived life shining through you. The opposite response, deep admiration, affection, or trust, is born from the same mechanism. Those who sense your light and feel safe within it are not worshiping you. They are recognizing in you a permission slip for their own suppressed luminosity. Something within them whispers, if they can be real, maybe I can too. And so they open, pouring their hearts into your quiet presence, as if by proximity they might reclaim their forgotten radiance. Both reactions, love and hate, are merely polarities of projection. Both reveal how clearly your frequency has begun to vibrate. And yet this clarity comes at a cost. You can no longer disappear into the crowd. Your energy, once diffuse, is now a signal too distinct to camouflage. You have become a frequency too defined for neutrality. You will find that people rarely feel neutral about you anymore. They will either resonate, their presence harmonizing with yours like two notes in perfect pitch, or they will resist, their dissonance vibrating painfully against your tone. It is not personal. It is physics of the soul. There is a peculiar loneliness in this stage of evolution. The comfort of invisibility fades. You become simultaneously magnetic and alienating, a presence that awakens others but often isolates yourself. Do not mistake that isolation for exile. It is consecration. You are being set apart, not as superior, but as a clearer instrument through which truth can sound. The world needs such mirrors, those who reflect without distortion. Yet being such a mirror demands courage. It means allowing others to project, to misunderstand, to love, or to loathe, while you remain centered in your own frequency, unmoved by their shifting tides. And right here at the threshold of this new reality lies a trap more perilous than any shadow you've faced before. It is the trap of the spiritual ego. It is the most perilous of all illusions, for it hides not in darkness, but in radiance. It tells you that your signs of growth are proof of superiority, that your clarity makes you chosen, that your pain refined you beyond the reach of ordinary souls. Carl Jung called this psychic inflation, the swelling of the self with archetypal energy until the human being forgets their humanness. You mistake contact with the numinous for ownership of it. You cease to be the seeker and begin to act as the source. And this is the moment the soul begins to contract. How can you tell when the light has turned inward, when reverence has become vanity? Ask yourself, do these experiences make you feel above others or among them? Do you speak of your insight to connect or to impress? Are you quietly living your truth or performing your awakening for applause? If your transformation demands witnesses, you are not yet transformed. Because true vibrational maturity is quiet. It does not sparkle for recognition. It radiates through being. Integrated souls don't announce their depth. Their presence demonstrates it. Jung warned that the moment we identify ourselves with the archetypal forces that flow through us, we fall from grace into inflation, a spiritual masquerade more dangerous than ignorance. For arrogance cannot coexist with wholeness. The true sage bows not because they are small, but because they recognize the immensity that passes through them. So the ultimate maturity is this: when you no longer try to be spiritual, no longer strive to be conscious, you simply are. The ego dissolves, and what remains is humility. The quiet knowing that the light you bear was never yours to claim, only yours to carry. The three signs you've witnessed: the intelligent body, the responsive universe, the polarizing presence, are not milestones to collect, nor badges of enlightenment to display. They are simply the natural consequences of staying faithful to yourself. When you stop fleeing from your own depths, when you sit with your contradictions long enough for them to soften into harmony, something begins to shift at the very root of being. you become whole. And that wholeness, invisible though it seems, then leaves its fingerprints upon everything. Your body begins to tell the truth. Reality begins to answer you back. And people begin to mirror your vibration in ways that can no longer be ignored. This is what high vibration truly means. Not an ethereal glow or endless positivity, but an inner order so coherent that the world must rearrange itself to match you. It is not always gentle. It will test your honesty, your humility, and your endurance. But it will never lie to you. Because once your life aligns with truth, even discomfort becomes sacred. The question then is not, do you see the signs? The question is, are you ready to bear the responsibility they demand? To live awake, even when sleep would be easier? To look directly at life, even when truth burns? If something in these words echoes inside your chest, if you recognize this strange, luminous terrain, know this: you are not alone. Others are walking it too, quietly, bravely, in the hidden hours of ordinary days. The real work is not to perform, but to witness. Not to speak louder, but to live more truthfully. To become so coherent that your very existence becomes a statement, even when no words are spoken. If this message resonates with you, share it with one person who's ready to remember themselves. And if you haven't already, subscribe and join me for the next conversation, where we'll keep exploring this terrain of soul and shadow with sincerity and courage. Thank you for your time, your stillness, and your presence here. And remember, the journey back to yourself is the most important one you will ever take. I'll see you in the next video.